for them if necessary.
It's all about that warfare, boy. It's all about that warfare, boy. My soldiers take ground till I'm stand down. My soldiers take ground till I'm stand down. Take ground. Now this ain't no movement, this a takedown. We will not be moved or intimidated. We ain't the type. You got a problem, tell them cross the fucking line. My niggas ain't polite. Soldiers to the left and right. I die for every man body. Before I be a coward, I'd rather be a dead body. This will be my kingdom when the hour plays. You can either get with it or get flipped like an hourglass. We live by honor and no excuse. Just send the prayer up to the Lord. I told him, then let all the terrorists loose. Hold your tongue or get rebuked, cause you made a truce. With a race to make merchandise out of my abuse. Scared of who? You got your gun, then pull it. Me and my niggas start to argue, it's about who gon' bite the bullet. It gon' take round. Opponents better move slow. Attack dog for this truth, nigga, cool zone. Go to ground. It's all about that warfare, boy. It's all about that warfare, boy. My soldiers take ground till I'm stand down. My soldiers take ground till I'm stand down. Oh, thought you could cross us with no consequence, but you will pay this. You should've used your common sense. My zeal lit, that means you could never prevent. Hey, with a true sin, hey, with warriors dwell. Be wise with the weapons, cause I promise. My nine just like my wife, she concealed, she mine. I know two things, a robber will not prosper. And any man harm me and my aunt gon' need to die. Cause this life is warfare, it's not an easy walk. Been watching my people die, so you can miss me with that love. So my UPK soldiers, any man try to cross your path, make him regret it. What that means, fall on his ass. Comparing me and you really ain't no contest. Lonely one way, say what? Lonely one way. This for those who thinking we ain't ready for. Tell them back up, I'm about to drop something heavy for. Go to ground. It's all about that warfare, boy. It's all about that warfare, boy. My soldiers take ground till I'm stand down. My soldiers take ground till I'm stand down, boy.
You understand? You done found a new breed of Hebrews that stand and walk with the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. And we don't care who we got to come up against. You ain't standing before this truth. You understand? We done took them all on and gonna continue to take them all on.
Surrounded by Edomites, lost a lot of truth to this tree of life. Open up the book just to see I'm right. Reminiscing on my ancestors, on those ships who had to plead for life. Took us to a place where ain't never safe there. Poisoning our foods and put our children up in daycare. Fresh out of slavery, still thinking that they care. Guns in the community, children can't play there. Brothers still brainwashed, we died for that same cost. Took away our history, believing that we ain't lost. Brother, I'm an Israelite, sin is like kryptonite. Brothers won't pray, no, they'd rather link a chick tonight. Praises to the Most High, I ain't like most guys. Eyes on the future, but I learned from a boat ride. Tribe of Benjamin, inherited on both sides. Background Jamaica, mistreated and I know why. I'm an Israelite, die for my Israelites. Blood of the Israelites, cry for my Israelites. Going through it cause we're Israelites. Allah to all my Israelites. I'm an Israelite, die for my Israelites. Blood of the Israelites, cry for my Israelites. Going through it cause we're Israelites. Kwam Yasha Allah to all my Israelites.
Kwam Yasha Allah, sons of the power. Rise from the ghetto when Satan want us devoured. The seal of the Lord ain't found in church towers. Never dying on my knees like no coward. Wanna be an Israelite, you gon' need more than fringes. You gon' need to show you approve and get in them scriptures. Oh, I forgot to mention, traumatized from the lynching. Homicide, we the victim, homicide ain't the ending. Kids with PTSD, suffering symptoms, never getting treatment. Something he gotta sleep with. Stockholm syndrome so long, it ain't a secret. That's why I die for them brothers I'm facing east with. Cause I'm an Israelite, crackers better get it right. Visions of my enemies, death flow through my dreams at night. If your mind ain't dead, then we don't dream alike. Reporting live from hell, home of Christians and Edomites.
I'm an Israelite, die for my Israelites. Blood of the Israelites, cry for my Israelites. Going through it cause we're Israelites. Kwam Yasha Allah to all my Israelites. I'm an Israelite, die for my Israelites. Blood of the Israelites, cry for my Israelites. Going through it cause we're Israelites. Kwam Yasha Allah to all my Israelites.
While they play the sidelines, comfortable on benches. Catch me on the front lines, put in work in trenches. Making sure our election, preparing for Armageddon. Mastering this profession of prophesying these lessons. Protecting our adolescents and answering all their questions. Teaching the love, their reflection. No matter what the complexion, we got a common connection. A part of God's hand selection. A shot at the resurrection, through us achieving perfection. But to give life takes sacrifice. Battle demons every vice. Short days and long nights. Less sleep and more fights. More wisdom, more strife. Telling everybody that they wrong and you're right.
Shalom, Israel. Yahweh Shibya Shabrakathan. It's the ISUBK. We are the ISUBK coming out of Baltimore. We started at 1 West, Hall, New York, 125th Street, under Commander General Yohana. We are not affiliated with any other Israelite groups, camps, or anybody, any other, organizations. If it's not under Commander General Yohana, it's not the truth. Now, let's start out with a little question. Or actually, let's start out with this. We all know throughout history, the enemies of the black man, Hispanic man, and Native man of this continent has done anything and everything to destroy our families, to destroy our children, to destroy our women, and destroy the brotherhood between a black man and another black man. We know that.
That's right.
And of course, we know that our enemies include, who are our enemies, first of all? We know them. We have more than one. There's plenty of them. But who are our enemies? And why are they doing this? These are the questions we have to ask today of what's the purpose of why our enemy is doing certain things to destroy us. Why does he want to destroy the black man? Why does he want to destroy the Hispanic man and Native man? Why does he want to destroy our black woman? Why does he want to destroy our children? That's the question that we're going to ask today. We're going to find out the answer. And then, after we find out why our enemy wants to do this, we're going to find out the tactics that he uses to destroy us. Because in order to know what your enemy is doing, you have to know the weapons, the tactics that he uses to destroy all of us. And once we know those tactics, then we'll talk about some simple solutions that the Most High put in front of us to not be destroyed by these tactics. So first of all, who are our enemies? We have plenty of them. And the Bible, the Most High actually told us thousands of years ago who these enemies were. Well, who are our enemies? We see them in our neighborhoods all the time. We see the white man in our neighborhood. It's almost like a parasite right in our neighborhood. He's infiltrated everything. We see the Arab man, the Asian man, the East Indian man. We even see the Khazarian Jewish man and the African. They all in some way have been the cause of our destruction. All of them have taken part in our destruction. So the title of today that I want us to look at is Our Enemy Tactics to Destroy the Black Man, the Black Woman, and Black Child. Now, all of these nations have taken part in destroying our heritage, our identity, and our language. However, The worst crime that all of them have done, especially the white man, is to make us believe that they were our power or that they were our God. And let me explain that. The white man has used the tactic so well that it's ingrained in our minds that many black people in America today, when they think about God, the image that comes into their head is a white man. That's why you see a white Jesus. Or that's why when they see a picture of a feminine-looking white man with blue eyes and the long, crazy-looking hair, the long, blondish or whatever brownish hair, they always equate that picture with Jesus, who they really named Yahweh. Because the white man wants to put in your mind already that when you think of the Savior, you think of him. You know why? Because he always wants to be the Savior. That's really, and to make it even more crazy, the white man has put in our minds that the Most High is also white. When you think of God, a lot of us, when we were younger, maybe even now, when we thought of God, for some reason, there was a white man that came into our minds just sitting on a cloud, a fat white man. And this is the stuff they put into the movies of how God just looks. So the Most High and his Son are white men, and they are the saviors of all of us. Well, because the white man wants to be the savior and your master at the same time. It's kind of crazy, I know. But he wants to be both. He wants to enslave you and make sure that you still stay a slave. But for some reason, he wants you to think in your mind that he is God. So, since we have gotten into our mind of who we think Yahweh is and who we think God is, we have actually turned back on what the Most High really wanted us to do. We have turned our backs on the law, statutes, and commandments and started following after these heathen nations. And because we have followed after these heathen nations, we've actually received the consequences or the punishment because of that. And we all got punished together, all of us. The Most High punishes us as a nation. And so that's important. It's important that we all give back to these laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High so that we all can be blessed together as a nation, because we all surely were punished. But the question I want to start out with is, why does our enemies hate us so much? And why did he put all these stumbling blocks so that we should hate each other and even destroy each other? There is a reason why our enemies are doing this. Well, the first thing we need to do is we need to see what the Most High promised us, and then we can get a better insight of why our enemies hate us. So let's start out today in Deuteronomy 28. Let's get Deuteronomy 28, starting in verse 1. See, when you have somebody that hates you, or when you have an enemy, one of the first things they're going to do is they're going to research about you. Okay, they're gonna find out things, your weaknesses. They're gonna find out things that you like, and then what they're going to do is they're going to take those things and turn them against you, or they're going to do things to destroy you, because there may be something about you or about yourself that they don't like or that they're jealous of. So we have to find out, what did the Most High promise us that our enemies despise so much? You got that, brother?
Con. Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 1. And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently.
So the Most High is telling us here, okay, he's talking to Israel, the black man, Hispanic man, Native man. If we hearken diligently, so that means if we really pay attention carefully and do these things carefully,
unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and to do all his commandments.
So he's telling us that he wants us to do all of his commandments. And there's a reason why, because if we do all his commandments, these things will start to come upon us. Read on, bro.
Which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations.
Now, let's stop right there. What our enemies know, that if we get back to these laws, statutes, and commandments, we'll be above them. And there is not a white person on this earth, I don't care if you think they do, because a lot of people, there's always a white friend that somebody has, and they're trying to say, well, Billy's not like that. Billy is like that too. There's not a white person on this earth that would love to see a black man, woman, or whoever over them. They would never want to see that. They'll always say, let's be equal. Or they'll just treat you like you're under them. But the Most High has said right here, if you hearken unto his law, statutes, commandments, he's going to set Israel above. So that means that the white man will be under you. And you know he does not like that. That's why he hates you. Read on, bro.
Above all nations on the face of the earth. Verse 2.
Come.
Verse 2. And all these blessings shall come on thee.
So now he's telling us, if we hearken, not only will we be above all these nations, but he's also going to put these blessings on us. Continue, please.
And overtake thee, if thou shalt hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God. Verse 3. Blessed shalt thou be in the city.
Stop right there. So we can see that we can see in all the cities that we live in, we're not blessed. Okay, we see the depravity, we see the poverty, the crime, our children in despair, the hunger, we see that. But the Most High says if we turn back, then we're going to start to see blessings in the city. Continue, brother. Sir.
And blessed shalt thou be in the field.
So we'll be blessed in the city and in the county, country. We're all over the place. Let's go to verse 4.
Verse 4. Blessed shall be the fruit of thy body.
Okay, that's talking about our children. We know that. We know our children are going through misery right now, and that's because we are not obeying the voice of the Most High. So our children are suffering, but if we get back to these laws, statutes, commandments, our children will be blessed. Continue.
And the fruit of thy ground.
Okay, we'll be blessed on the job, actually. We'll actually be over that white man that's at our job. Because we know right now that white man, he's smiling because he's over us. That's why he smiles at you at the job. That's why he's friendly towards you at the job. Because he feels like he's superior than you. He feels comfortable. You know if he got up tomorrow and went to work, and you said, hi, I'm your boss, you know his whole attitude would change. And yes, that nice white man Bill would change too. You would bring that demon right out of him. You would bring the demon right out of him. Bill's whole countenance would change. Bill would have an attitude when you told Bill your lunch break's only 20 minutes a day. You would see Bill would snap. Bill would snap. He'd come back in with a gun. Because now you're over him. And these are the blessings. If we get back to these laws, statutes, and commandments, that will actually become a reality. You will be telling Bill and Bob what to do, and you'll rule over them. And you'll see, because one thing about us as black people, we always try to have pity on the white man. We always will say, well, Bill's nice. Well, why would God destroy Bill? Bill's nice. No, Bill's the same way. That demon you just haven't seen that demon come out of him. Okay, be Bill's boss for a day, or for a week, or for an hour. Bill will change too. You'll see the same characteristics in the other blatant white folks. You'll see that in Bill too. Let's go to verse 13.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 13. And the Lord shall make thee the head and not the tail.
So the Most High is going to make us the head and not the tail. We'll actually be running this earth, ruling the world. Okay? We'll actually have our system in place. Okay? You will actually see that. You won't just see, Tyron's chicken on one corner in a black hood, and then you got all these other foreign businesses. We'll be all black businesses all over. We will be the head. Okay, we will control the economics. We will control all that if we turn back to these laws, statutes, and commandments. Now, these are the blessings. So you can see one of the reasons why we are hated so much. Because our enemies actually see what can come upon us. And if somebody hates you and they see something that's about good that's about to come from you, well, what are they going to do? They're going to infiltrate, they're going to do everything they can to make sure that blessing does not come upon you. They will do all that they can, to make sure they will destroy, they'll do anything they can back up to make sure those blessings do not come upon you. This is one of the reasons why the white man and the other nations hate you, black man, so much. That's why they hate you. Because they know. You know who the only people you will really fight about who are the chosen people? It's really other black people, especially other black Christians. That's who the one, because you know why? Because black people, we Native and Hispanic people, we try to include everybody sometimes, when everybody does not want to include us. We try to have pity for everybody because of that white person that we know. And I'm going to tell you, that white person that you know, if the stuff hit the fan, they're not going to include you. They will not. And that's what you have to understand. We have to stop being so inclusive and do what the Most High says and separate. Now, of course, what has happened to us? Well, we haven't been the head of our communities. We haven't seen blessings that's come on our children. We haven't seen us be above the nations. We've actually seen the opposites in our lives. Well, why have we seen the opposite? It's simple science, black man, Hispanic man, and Native man. It's because we haven't done what the Most High said. And so if you're not doing what the Most High says, if you disobey laws, there's consequences that come to it. If I run through a red light, there's a consequence or consequence. Another car can come hit me. Police can stop me. Okay? I could call somebody else to go off the road. Okay? If you break a law, a consequence comes with it. Or, if you have whatever action you do, there's a reaction. Science. So we haven't been the head, or we haven't been above these nations because we disobeyed. And the Most High has told us what would happen. And this has been our history over and over and over again, black men, Hispanic men, and Native men. Is that we have turned our backs and tried to follow the heathen. Why would we want to follow the people that hate us? Why would we want to do it? Sometimes when we sit back and think as black people, we got to really think, why are we really doing this? Why am I following my oppressor? The one that killed my father, the one that strung my grandfather up from the tree, but I still want to integrate with him. Ask a bunch of Jewish Khazarians if they want to have tea with Hitler's children or descendants. Whatever, his relatives. Ask them if they want to sit down and have tea with them and be in their schools. Ask the Japanese if they want to send their children to all Chinese school teachers, or to a school where all their teachers are just Chinese. We are the only ones that sit back and say, I still want to be a part of it. It's because we've been abused so badly that we can't even see clearly. We have turned our back. So let's start looking clearly. Let's start with seeing what the Most High said. So let's start seeing why we're in this condition. And we've heard this. Let's go to Deuteronomy 28, starting verse 15. Let's read 15 and 16.
Come. Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God.
Which we have done, we have not listened. And all of us are there or have been there. Okay? We think Yahweh that General Yohanan has, picked up the baton and is out here fighting to wake up brothers like us, out and getting us out of this hell, and it causes us to turn back to these laws, statutes, and commandments. But we've all been there, where we have not hearkened unto our Father. Continue, brother.
To observe, to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee.
So he's telling us all these things are going to come upon us if we do not. All right, let's hear it. Let's hear it.
and overtake thee. Verse 16, cursed shalt thou be in the city, and cursed shalt thou be in the field.
Okay, so we know that. We're in Baltimore City here. It's always in the top 5 or 10 worst cities in America. If you're from, I know Chicago, people are like, yeah, Chicago's always for some reason making number 1. You got other cities out there that's just horrible. And it's usually dealing with our folk. Okay, it's like it's crime, poverty, you name it. Let's look at verse 8. We say, curse will be in the city. What else? Read on for that.
Verse 17, cursed shalt thou thy basket and thy store.
Okay. Oh, continue.
Verse 18, cursed shall be the fruit of thy body.
Okay, so pretty much we know that's talking about our children. Okay, our children are suffering because of the stuff that we are doing or putting in place. Now our children have to grow up in a life of misery. Okay, so the Most High is telling us what's going to happen. He said it back then. It has happened, and it's continuing to happen. It's continuing to happen, and it's affecting all of us. That's why we all need to turn back, because it's affecting all of us. It's affecting all of us because we all have to turn back as a nation. Let's just jump to verse 32.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 32. Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people.
Okay, so we know what happened during slavery. Our ancestors, children's children, whoever, were given away, sent away, separated, given to a white man of another plantation. But where do we see that today? This actually happens today. Let me pose that question. How are our children given to another people today? You actually see this every day. It might shock you. How are our Black, Hispanic, and Native children given to another people today? You might actually be shocked. And it's happened. Does anybody know?
Would that be schools?
Come, let's get in there. You see it right in the public school system.
Right.
You see this right in the public school system. Because you could be in Baltimore, New York, Florida, all the way from the east down to south, fly all the way out to California. In predominantly Black school districts, the teachers are not predominantly Black. They're predominantly white female teachers. The white therapist is there too. And what do? They tell you how you should teach your children. They tell you how you should raise your children. Tyvon, you know how they talk to you. Tyvon can't read. He's low. They're going to give you the solution of how you should train up your children. So even today, you see this. You see this in the school system. Our children are given to another people. And those other people, they're teaching our children. Actually, in the coronavirus, Black parents actually had to start teaching children. They actually had to start teaching. I know it's stressful. But that was actually a time, because actually the Most High wants us to teach our children. Let's continue. Let's go to verse 48.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 48. Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee, in hunger and in thirst.
Okay, so we know that the enemies that were sent against us was the so-called white man, was the so-called Arab man, was the so-called Jewish man. I saw a woman on TV the other day talking about Jewish people didn't own any slaves. I said, what world is she living in?
Right.
More than half of the slave owners were Jewish. More than half. What world did she come out of? And they said it. It's so funny. what gets me is people will actually say what they've done. The Jewish man will tell you that. A lot of the slave owners in this country were Jewish. Jewish man.
Right.
They owned us. And she had the gall to come on to you. Well, Jews, Jewish people, they don't own these slaves. What world was she living in? Okay? And we've had to serve our enemies. Okay? Even the blacks that have so-called made it, though there's a fine line they can't cross. You know, even when you make it, you know that you can't cross the white man or he'll shut you right back down. Ask Bill Cosby, ask O.J. Simpson, ask the blacks that have made it that had to be thrown right back down to the ground. You know you can't, there's a certain line you can't cross with the white man. Because he will show you in this system that he's still boss. You know, because some black people think, well, I'm happy. I talked to a black man last week, I'm happy. And he was just, I said, how you happy? With the condition, I'm happy. And he was sitting, and I said, oh, he hasn't learned yet. That, you know, even if you try to be happy in the system, and you try to, you know, raise yourself above the white man, he's going to knock you right back down. He's going to knock you right back down. Let's read verse 49, brother. Bible shot.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 49. The Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand.
Okay, what language am I speaking now? This wasn't the language of my forefathers. This wasn't the language that the Most High spoke to Moses and that Yahweh Shah spoke. Why am I speaking this language? Well, it's because the language when our forefathers were taken over here, we had to speak his language. Okay? We had to speak his language. And I've said this in the Lashawan Kodash classes. Language brings about culture. There's a lot that's in a language. So we didn't understand that language. So he made us speak his language. And while we started how to speak his language, we also took on his culture. So we already know about the transatlantic slave trade. 99 million blacks were killed in that. And a lot of times, you know, because people don't want to make war with the Arabs and Muslims, they don't want to talk about the trans-Saharan slave trade, which in a lot of cases was just as worse. They said 147 million of our brothers perished in that. And they were so cruel when they took them across the trans-Saharan desert that they castrated all the black men that were across there. When they enslaved them and they had to walk them across the trans-Saharan desert, they castrated those black men and made them work in those salt mines over there in Arabia. See, they don't talk about that because we can't talk about Islam. You know, people don't want to talk about that. So we had the transatlantic slave trade, and this shows why that the scriptures were true that we would be scattered all over the earth. Okay, so part of us was taken across the Atlantic Ocean, another part of us was scattered, crawling across the Saharan desert, and scattered into those other nations. Okay, let's look at verse 50.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 50. A nation of fierce countenance, which shall not regard the person of old, nor shew favor to the young.
You know, our young people, Tamir Rice was murdered, okay, and the old have been killed. We know that. We know that. We know the history. Okay, we know that there has been no regard for our young or old. So we know this, and this has happened to us. It still is happening to us. Let's go to verse 64.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 64. And the Lord shall scatter thee among all people, from the one end of the earth even unto the other, and there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy father have known, even wood and stone.
So we know the story. This is a review for a lot of us. Some of this might be new. We know we were scattered. We were scattered over here to the Caribbean islands, to South America, and to North America. You know that Christianity, that, you know, horrible witchcraft ideology was put on our ancestors. And we were going the other way across the Trans-Saharan Desert. You know that Islam was forced on us, okay? And, you know, it was pretty much with Islam, convert or die. You know, because, you know, people forget when Muhammad first started teaching Islam in Mecca, they actually ran him out and they didn't believe that. He had to actually, you know, flee to Medina. And he actually, you know, because people were buying that crap. It's only when he started spreading it by force, all of a sudden people started converting. Okay, people want to keep that out too. You know, people weren't buying that mess that he was saying. Especially the true Jews. The true black men weren't buying that because they knew who the true Most High was. They knew who Yahweh was. They knew who, you know, Yahweh Shah, his son, was. They knew the truth. They weren't buying that. So they had to say convert or die. That's the way that was spread. Let's read verse 68.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more again, and there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you.
I'm going to read that last part. Now, we don't know the first part. We've talked about that a lot, where it says he will send you to Egypt in with ships. We know that nobody else can attest to that but the black man that came over here on ships to the Caribbean and some to North America. You know that was us. But I like the last part. I'm going to tell you why I like the last part. This cuts the Pan-Africanism, or Pan-Africanism, I can't even say the word, who are the Kemet or the Egyptology people. I don't know any of the crap. I just say it's garbage. This cuts these people that make a big deal or go up and down and try to call us African. They try to call us African, got Pan-Africanist movements. Let's read that last part again, because the Most High is telling you that you're not African. This is why we're not African. And so this is the part where it says sold to your end. Let's start there.
And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies.
We were sold to the white man. Okay, we were sold to the white man. That's easy.
For bondmen and bondwomen.
We became slaves. Pretty simple.
And no man shall buy you.
No man shall buy you. Now, this is the question I always ask the Pan-Africanism people or whoever the people. Our roots in Africa. We're Africans. Number one, let's actually break this down before I really get deep into the topic today. Number one, when Africans come here, I don't care if they're Kenyan, Nigerian, whatever they are, South African, Mozambican, whatever. Not one of them really ever attests to us as their brother. They actually don't like black people in America. They actually don't. They think we're lazy. They treat us differently. You know that. They don't look at you as one of them. Now, if anything, they don't probably know their heritage way better than you. Because a lot of them, some of them can still speak their language or whatever language they're speaking. They don't look at you as your brother. But let's put that aside, because somebody could be like, well, they don't know either. Now, most people or scholars would say that Africa, where you know, like these Kemet or whatever groups will say, Africa, that was a place of advanced civilization. Okay, I got you. Okay, perfect. Fine. How come when we were taken on ships, not one African nation came on warships after you? Not one. Now, if I go to China today and take 99 million Chinese, a billion over there, and put them on ships and bring them over here, do you know what you think China's gonna go to war? China's going to war for 5. I mean, even though there's a billion of them, they'll still go 99 million. You're telling me that none of those Africans that were supposed to be our brothers could have built the ships, because remember, this is where the advanced situation is, troops and the ships got some guns they were buying from the white man anyway, and came over here in numbers to declare war on the colonists, or at least went up to Europe and fought that no war, nothing. But they supposed to be our brothers. And I'm actually not saying, I'm sorry, 99 million died. I'm sorry. We don't know how many were taken. 147 other million were died in the trans-Saharan. So we don't know how many were taken. And you're telling me not one African nation went to war with that? Not one? That's ridiculous. You know why? Because they don't consider us one of them. They were helping us get off their land. They didn't want us there. So they consulted with the white man to get us up out of their landmass. Now I want the scholars to answer that question. And don't sit there and say, well, they didn't know their way. Listen, there's been proof that Africans were down in South America before the slave trade. Oh, they were built ships. Because remember, they were advanced civilizations, people said. I mean, even the Greeks went to war for Hell and Troy. We couldn't go to war for 99 million? That's ridiculous to me. You know why? Because they didn't consider us one of them. They didn't. And now you should know, we should all know that. Okay, so we know the consequences that we've been through, that we're going through. So, so the question still is why. The question still is why. We know that the white man and his companions know our destiny. Because they read this book. They actually read this book. And they go through great lengths to destroy us. So why do they do this though? They read this book and they actually know. This is the reason why. They actually know that the Most High loves us and he actually hates them. See, that's the secret. They know that they are hated. And so to divert the people away from them knowing that they are hated is they just want to be, and they try to be us. That's why people have taken our identity. Because they read this book too. And they're like, oh, the Most High really hates me. I better be the chosen people then. And so that's why, the white man when he teaches, or the Jewish man when he teaches, he calls all of us Gentiles. Because he's got to always be the hero. If you notice in all the white man's stories, the white man always tries to be the hero. Or he's always trying to go into some crazy or underdeveloped nation or country and be the hero. You see the movies, Last of the Mohicans, Last Samurai. Okay, there's always the white man is always in the midst of that. He's always got to be the hero. He's always, what Dangerous Minds. It's like the white man always got to be in some crazy area of another nation and somehow be the hero. And I can't, it's crazy. It's crazy to me because it's always, and that's why he makes himself God, and that's why he makes himself Yahweh, because he's always got to be the hero. That's why he's in your movement. That's why he's in the Black Lives Matter, which is a horrible movement, by the way. But that's why he's in your movements. I tell people this. If a white person is comfortable enough to join a movement for black people, it ain't about black people. I'm going to tell you that much. If they feel that comfortable,
right,
you ain't going to find the white man up in the ISUPK. That's right. You will never find him up in here. Because it's about the black man, Hispanic man, and Native man. You ain't going to find him here. Right. If the white man is comfortable enough to march alongside you, you better run. Because nobody's marching beside you because he's trying to control you. He's trying to control you. Because I keep saying this, I keep trying to tell black people this. It's not going to be about black people, even if the original idea was. The white man will put his ideas in there. You say first, Black Lives Matter. And the white man will say yes. And then you'll start hearing the white man say some crazy stuff out of his mouth. Black people, we don't stop and say, what the heck did he just say? Right. White people say some crazy stuff. First they'll be like, yeah, that's right. Then they'll say, Green Lives Matter.
Right.
Leprechauns Lives Matter. Right. And you'll be hearing some crazy stuff.
Right.
Tinkerbell's Lives Matter. What the hell are we talking about here? Pixies Lives Matter. Don't start adding some crazy. And guess what you start to do, black man? You'll start to agree with them.
Right.
That's right. Pixies lives matter. They don't even exist. But you start doing that because the white man always likes to infuse what he wants. That's why he's in your group. Don't ever join a movement where the white man is in. Because it will never be about you, black man, Hispanic man, Native man. It will always divert from you. So let's go on. So we said, why does the white man do this? Because he knows that the Most High hates him. And he knows that the Most High is going to destroy him. He knows that. He knows his time is short. Let's look at that in Scripture. Let's look at Malachi 1. Let's get Malachi 1, and let's read verses 1 through 5. He knows why. That's why he's trying to take your identity, black man. That's why he's trying to be the hero of your book, of our book. Okay, the law, statutes, and commandments. He wants that to all of a sudden be his law, statutes, and commandments that was given to him. And we saw, and if you read, you see that Esau actually despised his birthright. He actually despised it. But he don't want you to have it, black man. You see how when Esau actually sold his birthright to Jacob, sold it to him. Brother Matazwa brought that out beautifully in his lesson. But even though he sold it fair and square, he still had a problem. That's what the white man does. He still will have a problem. Got that, brother? Malachi chapter 1.
Come. Malachi chapter 1, verse 1. The burden of the word of the Lord to Israel by Malachi. I have loved you, saith the Lord. Yet ye say, wherein hast thou loved us? Was not Esau Jacob's brother? Saith the Most High, yet I love Jacob. And I hated Esau.
Stop right there. I love Jacob, and I hate Esau. Okay? He hates Esau. He actually doesn't like him. He hates him. But, you always got people that will say, well, that was back then, or I had one black, and you notice you will get in the most arguments with people, with black Christians, who would defend the white man. I had a brother tell me, well, it said I hated, and that's not like that anymore. Even though in Revelation it shows that, it's going to be cast out. That's right in Revelation too. We see that the devil is actually cast out. But you know why he was doing that? Because he wants to defend that white man. Right. He secretly loves the white man. Which we all have. I understand. I'm not even mad at the person. Because anytime and General Hyman brought this out, anytime you get into an argument with, especially another black Christian, about salvation of other groups, it really always comes down to defending the white man. That's really the basis of the argument. And you know why? Because people want that white friend of theirs saved. They do. And which is understandable. When we didn't know the truth, we always referred to that one white man. What about Billy? Billy's nice. Billy's cool. Billy likes black people. And we would defend him. We got to get out of that mindset. Because I'm going to tell you, stop spitting the fan right now. Ain't no white people coming to save us. They'll march with you, but they still want to control you. But they ain't trying to save you. They could have turned stuff around this country hundreds of years ago. They could have done it, but they don't want to, because this country was built on the backs of you being a servant. And black man, you have to understand it. So he hates Esau. He hates him. So since he loves the black man, our enemies have plotted to destroy us, to keep us from knowing our Creator, loving our Creator, and loving each other. Because this is what it's all about, is brotherhood. So let's look at our enemy's attitude towards us. And then we're going to look at some tactics today. What's the enemy's attitude? Let's look at Psalm 83. Let's get into some of the enemy's tactics. But before that, let's just look at his attitude. Because unless you understand our enemy's attitude towards us, then you can understand the tactics that he's going to use. And then when you see the tactics he's going to use, then we'll talk about the solutions, which we already have, which will get us back to having brother love towards one another. We got that, brother?
Come.
Let's start in Psalm 83, verse 1. Let's read 1 through 3.
Psalms chapter 83, verse 1. Keep not thou silence, O Yahweh. Hold not thy peace, and be not still, O Yahweh. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they make hate, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people.
All right, so we know that our enemies have taken crafty counsel. We know that the white man and his comrades have carefully created a system to destroy us. And it is, carefully. To the point that every system that the white man has put in place has subsystems, just to keep our black behinds in check.
Right.
Every system, because if you know anything about technology machines, you got a system, but then there's subsystems.
Right.
The white man has carefully created subsystems, and those subsystems have subsystems, to keep us, to make sure that we are destroyed in this system. So he's created all these subsystems. How in the world are we going to start marching for a system that was created to destroy us?
Right.
Okay? It is a system that works so well, we play part of that system. We rely on that system. Let's read verse 4.
Psalms chapter 83, verse 4. They have said, come, let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance.
Okay, so they're like, let us cut them off from being a nation. Have you noticed that the only time that, every other group can have their racial pride or their pride of who they are, but when black people start doing it, we're racist. Have you noticed that? Because that's the way to keep us being cut off from being a nation. When a Jewish man bashes Hitler, don't bash Hitler and all the Nazis, nobody calls him a race. Oh, how dare you bash Germans? Nobody. They're like, that's right. That's what they did. Concentration camps. 6 million. When we call the white man the devil and tell us to separate, all of a sudden there's a problem. But what about everybody? And that's when you guys are racist. You hate. Those Jewish people are showing their numbers on their arms. Nobody has a problem with that. Nobody. And to the point where they exclude other people, because they exclude you. Nobody has a problem with that. Nobody calls that racist. Actually, there's a little secret that I want us black people, Hispanic, and Native people. Everybody's racist except us.
Right.
We're actually the only group that's not racist.
Right.
That's actually true. The only group that's not racist is black people. Every other group is racist. Do you really take 70 Negroes from Baltimore or from Harlem and let me go into a Jewish area and try to open up some businesses? Do you think the Jewish man is going to sit there and be like, sure, come right in. Time out. Stop. What are you guys doing?
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be a problem.
Right.
Let me take 70 brothers from Compton and go down to Chinatown and try to open up shop. Let me try to do that tomorrow. And let's see if the Chinese welcome is open up. Welcome, our brother. Actually, he said, let's go to an all-African area and try to open up, since we're Africans anyway. Let's see if they welcome us. I'm glad you're here with us, brother. They're not going to say it. They're going to be like, you don't belong here. They're going to put us right out.
Right.
They're going to find a reason to put us out. They're racist. Now let's go down to a black area and let's see how many nations are in that area. You'll have the Korean shop in the corner. You'll have the Arab shop across the street. You'll have the Chinese restaurant right down the street.
Right.
You'll have the 7-Eleven, East Indian, corner store, whatever there, gas station.
Dunkin' Donuts.
You got the Dunkin' Donuts right there. And then maybe, you'll have one black chicken spot that's trying, that's close to going out of business. It's trying. Tyrone is trying to keep his chicken spot alive.
Right.
He's trying. But you'll have a flood of nations, not black, in your neighborhood. But they will let us in theirs.
Right.
You know why? Because they're really racist. And black people are not. So when people get mad at General Yohana for actually teaching black people to love themselves, that means because they're showing how we really think of ourselves, black people. We don't like us. We don't love ourselves. That's actually a part of the commandment. You're supposed to love your brother, neighbor, as you love yourself. You can't love your neighbor if you don't even love who you are. Because your neighbor should look like you. So let's continue. So, let's continue. Let's look at verse 5.
Come on. Psalms chapter 83, verse 5. For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee. The tabernacles of Edom.
Let's start right there. So we know now. Let's talk about some facts here. The Chinese man don't like the white man. They don't. He couldn't talk with the white man. He just know how to deal. He don't like the white man. The Arab man does not like the white man.
Right.
He doesn't. The Korean don't like the white man. They just play their part. But guess what? They will join with the white man to destroy you.
Yeah.
And they have.
That's right.
They have done that. God bless you, brother. Go ahead,
So I just wanted to point out something you brought. I was so happy because if you go back to when George Floyd was being lynched, remember it was an Arab who put the phone call in to call the police. It was an Asian man who stood guard,
That's
and
right.
it was a white man who put him to death.
That's right.
Confederate.
That's right. They're Confederate. That's right. Good point. Okay, man. That's a good point, brother.
Right.
That's a good point. They don't like each other, but when it comes to destroying you, they'll join together.
Right.
And that's why it says they have consulted and confederate against it. The Asian man and Arab man across the street, your neighbor, don't like each other. But they have their comrades. That means they got a common enemy. And guess what that enemy is? The enemy is you. And they're taking the money out of your enemy. That's why your kids don't have books for school. That's why. Because you would think if they're in the black neighborhoods, they would at least give the black children. How many of you have seen a Chinese person from a Chinese shop, and don't give me one, so we'll say in a large amount, come to the black schools and be like, we're making so much money off you, can we contribute? Of course you don't see that.
Right.
They don't contribute computers and notebooks. How many times does the Arab person or the Arab people in your community come to your black kids' school that don't have air conditioning saying, well, we're taking millions of dollars off every year. Let's at least put it back to help the black children. How many of them? None. What do they say every year? We're broke. That's what school system every year. Plus the black. We're broke. We have no money. But all the money, the black kids go to the corner store every day.
Right.
They go to the corner store every day. They go to Chain shop, and Chain gets more money from black people than anybody else. Chain's corner store, the black kids go in there every day.
Right.
You would think Chain would be like, these little Negroes, I really just respect them. Let me help. He don't do that. What children is he helping? Remember, Chain's racist. He's helping his own.
Exactly.
He's taking that money from your black kids and feeding his kids and his children's children, whether they're overseas or somewhere else in his community, because he's racist and he loves his people. Black man, we have to love each other. We have to love ourselves. And let's find out the nations that the Most High said. What's the nations that he said? Read the first nation.
The tabernacles of Edom.
First one that the Most High named, it's right in the book, the white man. The tabernacles of Edom. The houses, the dwelling place of Edom. Who's next?
And the Ishmaelites.
There he goes, the Arab. The Most High is telling you. The Arab's right there. Who's next?
Of Boaz.
Chinese. I mean, it's like you see how brilliant the Most High is. He's telling you all the people that are in your community consulting to destroy you. These are all the shop owners. The white man owns your schools and your properties. Him and the Jewish man, they own the project houses. Okay? So he names them first. Because they own the building that you live in. Then he said the Israelites. Because the Israelites have the store right there. Okay, they have the store. The pizza shop where you get the pizza and wings from, the Arab man owns that. They're telling you right there. And then he said Moab, the Chinese store, right there.
and the Hagarites.
There's no the Africans right there, the ones that we're supposed to be brothers with. You got a question, bro? So, bring it out. Yeah, there's still Hamites. We'll say the Hamites.
Yeah.
So, like, sir, Hamites.
You go ahead.
And they still, and then what did the Hamites do? That's supposed to be your brother.
Hamites. They all Hamites.
So, now that we see that we're in our enemy's heart is to cut us off from our Creator as a nation, let's now look at some tactics. Now we'll go over the tactics that our enemies use to destroy the black family and destroy our black brotherhood. Let's look at this. Point number one. I like to put things in points.
Right.
I'm a teacher, so I like to put things in points. Point number one. This is the first tactic that you will see. The white man will do anything and everything he can to destroy the black man mentally and physically. I'll say it again. If you're taking notes at home, point number one. The white man will do anything, we're going to show proof, and everything he can to destroy the black man mentally and physically. The white man at first will not try to destroy you physically at first. Because he's got to play mind games with you. Then he's just going to kill. When the white man's mind games, then he's going to kill. That's why people get foots and knees in their necks. The white man will first play mind games with you. That's what he'll first do. And now sometimes he will outright kill you. You bring that demon right out. He will. Don't get it twisted. He will. But the white man a lot of times likes to play because he's crafty. He's a serpent. Okay, so he's crafty when he does this. So he's going to play mind games. So what are the mind games the white man does to destroy us? What's one of the mind games is he uses the media. The media. That's one way to destroy and dismantle the black man. What else is used? The court system. Let's talk about the media. And we're going to make a connection with this because you actually saw this long ago. This was even in Yahweh Shah's time. The same things that they did in Yahweh Shah's day, is the same thing they do nowadays. What does the media do? The media always tries to find any slick way they can to demonize the black man or to make him look like a monster. The media will always try to do that. Okay, so now remember, as we said before, our enemies take crafty counsel against us. So crafty means they use serious tactics that are carefully created to destroy us. And when it's crafty, that means it's not obvious. Let me switch this. Slide you. All right, so let's look at this. Let's make a comparison here. I always like to compare things. When a white man does a crime, the media will probably say the crime, very little. It's not frontline news. Very little. They will talk about it. If they talk about it, it might be for like a day. Okay? Think of all the famous white men who've done crimes. Do you even remember their names? I actually don't. Because the media doesn't talk about them a lot. Tell me all the names of all the white officers that killed all the black people in the past year. Does everybody know all their names? They absolutely, I don't even know. You know why? There was an officer, and they probably the usually more than officer blah 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 say it, and then they'll keep move on because they're trying to focus on other things. Okay, they'll talk more about the black man that got killed. They'll talk more about, and you notice one thing, they always go to the black man's background. Okay, but they never flash the officer's face every day. I don't even know all the officers that killed Breonna Taylor. I know they put it on Facebook, but I can't remember. I don't know the 4 officers that are involved in George Floyd. I don't know the one that just shot the black man in the back. Because the media doesn't want you to know all of that about that. Because when a white man does a crime, the media is so careful to still protect that white criminal. They're careful. Now, when a black man does a crime, the media makes sure that you do not forget them. They will make sure their name will be blasted every day. We've heard now how many child molesters are in Hollywood. Everybody that worked in Hollywood will tell you all those directors and film agents are child molesters.
Right.
All the child acting innocent, they're white child molesters. We don't know. Does anybody know they mentioned now we heard about Harvey Weinstein. And Harvey Weinstein was doing this year, but who got blasted more of being a sex offender? Bill Cosby. We heard about, I didn't hear about Harvey Weinstein every day.
Right.
I heard about Bill Cosby every day. Every day. You heard about Bill Cosby. Because they want to make sure that they want to put into your mind that the black man is the scum of the earth. The media does it. Okay, that's what they'll do. Good point, sir. They want to vilify, they want to make sure you don't forget. Now, how many, there was a famous white man, I can't remember his name, that killed his wife. There was a couple. They talked about it, a few times, But the O.J. Simpson trial, that was on every day. I remember that because I was in school. I was in 4th grade. The O.J. Simpson trial was so long that it lasted from my 4th grade school year to my 5th grade. I was in 5th grade when the trial ended. I was in 5th grade. You know what's so funny? I went to an all-white school when I was in 4th and 5th grade. It was so funny. Even around all the white kids, I knew I was different because all the white kids were like, man, O.J. is innocent. And then, I'm sorry, they selected. They were like, man, O.J.'s guilty. I want him to go to jail. And I was like the only Negro, because I was like the only Negro in class. I was like, man, I want that brother to be innocent. I want to be off. And the white kids were so offended by me. They were like, no, why? Why? He should go to jail. And in my mind, I'm like, no, I want that brother to get off.
Right.
I was like, so I knew I was different. But the O.J. Simpson trial lasted for about a year or 9 months, whatever. I know it was in 5th grade. I was in 4th grade when it started. They talked about O.J. every day. Every day. And you see other white male actors that have killed their wife. Everybody knows Natalie Wood's husband killed her. And that's an open secret. Right. Natalie Wood just died. She drowned. They said she was a sweater. But we can't really talk to her husband. Most people are like, her husband killed her. Now, if he did, well, there's a devil anyway. But still, a lot of these white actors out here have killed their wives. I don't know their names, but I know O.J. Simpson's name. We know who Bill Cosby is. Because they like to do that. Also, if you notice, whenever a black man, so we know the media likes to destroy the black man. Here's another way they like to destroy them. You know what's so interesting is that whenever a black man is killed by the cops, have you noticed the first day we'll hear an innocent black man has gotten killed? Okay, people start marching, going crazy. Have you noticed? Watch the media, what the media does. They are so crafty to fight the white man is in it. They are so hard. Watch 2 to 3 days later. I get 3 days max. They, for some reason or some way, have extra footage. They're always finding extra footage out of nowhere of this black man doing something that would justify why the police should shoot him. They always got extra footage, or they found some background information on that black man. Watch when I tell you, there's always something they gotta dig up. Or they always gotta dig up something on the black person. So to not make them look like they got a clean slate.
Crafty counsel. That's
crafty counsel. I even heard about what was the girl's name? What was that won the Miss America? Vanessa Williams?
Yeah.
I heard that she won. That she won, and all of a sudden, a few days later, they had to dig up some problems about her. That she, I guess she took some inappropriate pictures or something. But if you see how crafty the media is, they will always pull up something. They'll always pull up something. Okay, so you have to look out for that because they always want to destroy the black man's image. Okay, so the thing for the murders. Does anybody know what Tamir Rice's murder is? The one that killed? No, I don't. Okay, so we don't know any of them. So this is all crafty counsel. So the media is one. Number 2, we have the court system. The court system is another tactic that destroys the black man. Many blacks have served many years behind bars for trumped up charges. And the white man is the biggest murderer, liar, thief in the earth. And, of course, always going to bring up crimes from him. And if you notice, anybody else knows that when a white man does a crime, for some reason, he always has a justification of why he does that crime. But we can't justify the millions of blacks that have been locked up. They're criminals. But when a white man does a crime, he always justifies it.
Right.
When he went over there and nuked all the people in Nagasaki and Hiroshima, the hundreds of thousands of them, what was his justification? I was saving American lives. And that's it. And that's what white man left it. That's it. I'm saving American lives. And Walter White didn't say nothing else. Children, whatever was murdered, nothing else to it. Saving American lives. Done. And we went over there and just bombed. If a black man bombed 10 white people and talking about saving black lives, that wouldn't go well for white men. That wouldn't go well. That wouldn't go well at all. But it's just like, it's the tactic that they like to. You got a question, sir?
Yeah, I'm about to say. And the thing about it is that they so evil. When the Japanese bombed them, they bombed what is that, a military site.
Come.
When they went and bombed Japan, they bombed the people.
They bombed the people.
They bombed men, women, and children.
Come. Good point. Bombed the military site, but then Bermuda. And what was it? What was that excuse?
Yeah.
Saving American lives.
Saving American lives.
Saving American lives. And you know what? No other explanation.
That was a military on military attack.
Come.
They were supposed to go back and attack military, but they attacked civilians.
They attacked civilians. What's that called? Collateral? They destroyed.
Yeah, they evil.
And twice.
Right.
When the
Nagasaki.
When the president wanted to negotiate, wanted to come to the table and negotiate, they said hit him again.
Hit him again.
They surrendered.
Hit him again. And the white man will do this. And if you even read about the bombing of Nagasaki and Hiroshima, we've all read the white books. They don't even charge America with that crime. It's just like, to end the war, and that's not really why the war ended, but to end the war, America bombed Nagasaki and Hiroshima. We just read that line, and the war ended, and all of a sudden, America, and that's it. You read the white man will never make himself the right criminal. He is always the hero, even when he's a criminal. The white man is the hero.
Hey, look, they did pay for it. They gave them our neighborhoods.
Yeah.
They gave them our neighborhoods.
Yeah. Come. Yep. So, so it just shows how much of a criminal the white man is. It shows that, but his court system is used to destroy us.
Yeah.
That's why his court system. All right? So, so we see that the media is one thing that does it. We see the court system is something that's done it. And we see that the prison system that's part of the court system was created to destroy us. Okay? We got millions of black men in prison. And why was that? Well, because really, if you think about it, the 13th Amendment actually allowed it. That's why slavery's over. Well, the 13th Amendment pretty much allowed slavery to still continue. Because the white man is that crafty. You cannot, that's why, how many treaties did he break with the native for us to understand that he's not going to ever tell you the straight up truth? He didn't even tell you the truth. He's never going to tell you the straight up truth. The white man will never sound the devil. The closest thing the white man, what the white man will do? He'll try to make it seem like he's done crimes, but that he's over it. I know that I have white privilege. I know that my ancestors, he'll always deflect to people. He'll never say, I'm a damn devil. He'll never say it's me. I know that I'm white and I have white privilege, but he always puts the but in there. But we're making some progress. The white man will tell you about your people. That's nothing. He don't like to tell you about yourself. We're making progress. We've got 5 Negroes integrated now, and whatever. They'll tell you. The white man always makes the bar. That's because he's crafty. He's crafty what he does. Let's read actually that 13th Amendment. I'm going to read it. And let's look how crafty the white man is. It says, neither slavery nor involuntary servitude shall be allowed except as a punishment for crime, whereof the party shall have been duly convicted, shall exist within the U.S. or any place subject to their jurisdiction. So 13th Amendment right there. And all of a sudden, the most people locked up, of course, is the greatest murderer on earth, right? No, of course, it's the black man. It's not the white man. Because that should be locked up. But the system wasn't created for him to be locked up. Okay? Black people in this country only make 13% of the population. But millions of black people are million of us locked up? That's really sad. 2 million. I'm sorry. Why? 2 million. And that's really sad. 2 million are locked up. And is this a coincidence or is this crafty counsel?
Crafty counsel.
So we see that both the media and the court system Both are aimed at destroying the black man. And what they do is they both have, and what do they have in common? Is they both destroy the black man. And what do? It's they use the same tactics, the same stuff that was used back in Al-Shah's time. Okay, they're using the same tactics. What do both of these things do? They accuse the black man. They let you accuse him. And we're going to bring some scriptures out to show that they were accusing the children of the Most High. It's the same. That's how you know that the Bible's talking about the white man. Okay? We can see that. Because even Yahweh Shah identifies the men in his day, the Pharisees said, as the devil. And what does devil mean? It's slander. Deceiver. They were in his day. What do they always like to do to Yahweh Shah? Accuse him. That's what they not slander his name, discredit him. That's the same thing the media does, and the court system, and the prison system. Accuse, slander. That's what they do. Let's look at this. Let's see what Yahweh Shah says. Let's look at the Pharisees and Sadducees. Let's look at John 8, verse 44. Let's see what they were doing. And he actually calls them out. He actually says who they are. Yahweh Shah it was awesome the way that he would deal with these people. He would actually expose them. And that's what we're doing in the Isupk. We're exposing who the white man is. Got that, brother? John 8, verse 44.
John chapter 8, verse 44. Ye are of your father, the devil, and the lust of your father ye will do. He was a murderer from the beginning, and abode not in the truth, because there was no truth in him. When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own, for he is a liar, and the father of it.
That's the wise. All right, so we see, he exposed the people of his day, the leaders of his day. He exposed them. Said, you are of your father, the devil. Okay, he was a liar and a murderer from the beginning. Well, who's been the biggest liar in our neighborhoods? Or for us? Who's been your biggest murderer? Black man, Hispanic man, and Native man? I mean, you can't even see Native Americans on it. How they gonna cover from one end of this earth to the other? We just don't see them now. I mean, I'm actually amazed when I see some natives chilling. Because you just don't see them. I mean, everybody would say that. You can walk. I mean, you could walk and see something else before you could see a native walking around.
Right.
You think, oh, it's a native. You know, it's like, oh, and they covered this landmass, and then now you got tribes don't even exist anymore because of white man.
Right.
They don't even exist anymore. Christopher Columbus caused our whole tribe to be extinct. They're not even alive today because of him. But 1492, he sailed the ocean blue. See, the white man tries to make things just smooth. He smooths his crimes out. Right. We sing the songs in school. 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue. We didn't say, oh yeah, he was a murderer too. We didn't add that into the song. And they made a day after Columbus Day. They made a day after him. But then, just like I said, the white man always has to be the hero of his own story. He's always going to be the hero. So we know who the biggest murderer is, who's been the biggest liar, who's lied to all of us. We know that. And Yahweh Shah was exposing the leaders of his day, the leaders in his community of his day. And it's not only just the white man. What does the white man always do, though? Because remember when I said the white man always has to make himself look innocent and the hero. What does he do so that he doesn't look like the bad guy? What does he always send? He always sends other blacks against you. That's where you get your Christian pastors from. He did that on the plantation. Okay, the overseer, black overseer in New York. He always does that because he has to make his hands look clean. Okay? We know that the Yahweh Shah was exposing not only the white man, but the pastors of his day. Okay? So let's see what the pastors of his day were doing. So these are the tactics the white man does, and these are the tactics that the white man's henchman does for him. Let's look at Luke 6, verse 7. Because all of these things is part of the tactics that the white man does to destroy the black man. We're still at tactic number one. Don't lose me. Tactic number one, let me go over it again, is
The white man will do anything and everything to destroy the black man mentally and physically. Let's get Luke 6 verse 7. You got that, brother?
Luke chapter 6 verse 7. And the scribes and Pharisees watched him, whether he would heal on the Sabbath day, and that they might find an accusation against him.
Okay, they always were watching him. The white man and his henchmen are always watching the black man. Trayvon Martin was minding his business. Then somebody just all of a sudden started watching him. The cops are watching just to find fault with you. You be minding your own business in your neighborhood, but they're watching to find faults. This is the same thing, because what is the root of it is to accuse you. Because they're always trying to find fault with us. Let's look at Luke 14 verse 1. This is the same thing that Yahweh had to deal with. And if you think Yahweh was white, I mean, the only ones who's really accused of the white man people are the men of the Lord. Because everybody else is trying to make your peace with the white man. When we talk about the white man's crimes, you'll see other, especially other correct pastors, other blacks, or others that kind of try to smooth that out. They say they're racist. Everybody else trying to make smooth over his crime, but he's going to be punished for those crimes. Let's look at Luke 14 verse 1. Got that, brother?
Luke chapter 14 verse 1. And it came to pass, as he went into the house of one of the chief Pharisees to eat bread on the Sabbath day, that they watched him. And behold, there was a certain man before him, which had the dropsy. And Yahushua answering spake unto the lawyers and Pharisees, saying, Is it lawful to heal on the Sabbath day?
Let's stop right there. So they're watching to just find to see if he's going to break the law.
Right.
They watch you, black man, just to see if he's going to break the law. That's why they're watching you. They want to find fault with you. They want to accuse you. That's why they use the media. That's why they use the court system. That's why they use the prison system. That's why they use the police department. To find fault with you. Because they want to mentally and physically destroy you, black man. I haven't got to black woman yet. We about to get into some of the meat here. Okay? So to accuse. Let's find another scripture. Let's look at Luke 20, verse 20. We're just bringing some of these scriptures out so that you can see that the same tactics that was done to the men of the Lord back then are the same tactics that's trying to use that are being done against you, Israel, today. The same tactics. You got that, brother?
Luke chapter 20, verse 20. And they watched him and sent forth spies, which should feign themselves just men, that they may take a hold of his words, that so they might deliver him unto the power and authority of the governor.
Let's stop right there. Spies. How many times? I mean, they just count. How many? In almost every black organization that's been created, the white man has tactfully, with his craftiness, put spies in those organizations. In all the organizations, because they do that to infiltrate. Now let me ask you, how many white organizations have they infiltrated? The Ku Klux Klan still exists. The neo-Nazis still exists. Black Panther's gone. I mean, they got the new Black Panther part, but gone. You know, these black organizations that seem fearful, gone. Destroyed. They're destroyed. They got to infiltrate them. They got to get these spies. They have to send their spies in there. And of course, they'll always find a black man to do it. The whole spies are of us. And probably they're threatening that black man because they'll expose him. So they kind of put the black man between a rock and a hard place.
Right.
You know, they'll probably be like, well, listen, Tavon, I know about you. If you don't want a certain time here, you got to get this organization and expose those brothers. So it's the same thing that was happening. This is the crafty counsel that was talked about in Psalm 83. This is the crafty counsel. Okay, let's look at one more scripture about a couple more scriptures. Let's look at Matthew 22, 15. Okay, let's get some more out on this. And then we're going to talk about what they do to the black woman. Okay, because We're talking about what he does to the black man. We're going to talk about what he does to the black woman, and then even our black children. Got that, brother?
Come on. Matthew chapter 22, verse 15. Then went the Pharisees and took counsel how they might entangle him in his talk.
Okay? Trying to trap him in his words. They always try to trap black people. Oh, this is crafty counsel. You see this today. Trapping. Okay? They're always trying to trap and get a black man caught up in his trap. Okay? They'll be the police do that all the time. Set up traps.
Right.
You gotta expose them, accuse them. That's why we gotta get back these moral statutes and commandments. You can even find the same spirit, that same spirit when they were trying to accuse Daniel. Daniel was minding his business, praying. And then they had to find fault with him. Okay? It's the same tactics. Let's look at one last scripture on this point. Let's look at Revelation 12, verse 10. Let's get one more point out on this. Okay? Let's look at Revelation 12, verse 10.
Revelations chapter 12, verse 10. And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, now is come salvation and strength and the kingdom of our power and the power of his Christ. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down.
Okay, the accuser been cast down, because that's what will happen. Okay? The accuser was accused us day and night. You can't turn on the TV. And you know what? Something my mother taught me a long time. I didn't believe my mother was a kid. You know, you got to listen to your parents, you know, when there's some wisdom there. I remember my mother when I was a kid said, watch the media, son. She said, every time, she said, if the media finds something, talk about some type of thing wrong with a white man, she said, best believe they're going to talk about a black man to even it out. I'm like, mommy, you know, you're like, you're serious? And sure enough, watch the media today. If they do talk about something, a Harvey Weinstein, watch out, because right behind there, Bill Cosby's been exposed, News at 10, you know, it's going to come right behind it. You know, they can forget the white man, smooth that over. They're going to come right out and say, new evidence on O.J. Simpson, 6 o'clock today. You know, it's coming right behind it. Because they got to even it out. You know, they can never just talk about the white man. They're going to even that right out to make you forget about it. Okay? I remember they talked about the subway guy. Who was that guy who used to walk 100 miles a day to get some subway? And they just, it was all child pornography. He was into children. They talked about him for a day. Jerry Sums. They talked about Jerry for one day.
Jared.
Yeah, Jerry. Jerry was into child pornography. That was like, they talked about him for 2 minutes. Now, Jerry inspired me as a kid because he was a big guy and he walked 100 miles whatever day to get a Subway sandwich and lost all his weight. Then we find out this man like child. I don't know if he really was. I don't know if they got him.
He actually did go travel to have sex with underage teenagers.
Okay, so yeah. And how long did we hear about it? That was like 2 minutes on the news. That was like 2 minutes on the news. By the way, Jared's a child molester. We didn't wait till next on news 10. You know, it's like it's real quick. I was like, what, Jared is a child? You know, like, what is this great? Real quick. And have we heard about Jared stuff that way guy since? No. They ain't talking about it no more. You guys see, that's not important. Not important. So we can see, but that's who they're going to accuse day and night. They're going to accuse the black man day and night. Well, I mean, O.J. Simpson's trial was what, 20 plus years ago. They still talk about it. You still have the psychology. I saw a panel of white people talk about O.J. last week. Why O.J. did it. I'm like, they can't, don't never let that go. Don't never let it go. Don't never let it go.
Never.
Okay? Now, when the white man can't just, you know, destroy you with his tactics, with his mind games, with his accusations, or joining your movement, they're just going to outright kill you. That's what's going to happen next. Okay? This what's happening. This goes right in the scripture. Because Cain just outright killed Abel. Just killed him. Okay? Satan, you know, was one of that physical harm if the white man cannot destroy you with his crafty counsel, you just go kill him. And we need to know that. They couldn't really find fault with Eric Gardner, kill him, give him children. Okay? They couldn't find any fault with Trayvon Martin, kill him. Okay? One of the police black men got killed, you can't find fault, or you try to find, they'll kill you. So the white man can't find, accuse you or trap you with his counsel, he's just gonna kill you. Okay? So that the media doesn't work, the court system don't work, the prison system doesn't work, the police just think it's gonna take, they'll use the former slave catchers, which is the police department, to just straight up kill you.
Right.
Because that's what the police department is. It's the former slave catchers. Okay, that's what they are. So you see the crafty counsel that the white man has used. And that's what's number one. Number one is he'll do anything and everything to destroy the black man mentally and physically. Point number two. The second tactic is by manipulating the black woman. Okay? That is point number two. You gotta get the black man out of the way first. Okay? That's what they did. And so that's why they castrated all those black men going across the trans slave trade. They know we're the warriors. Gotta get the outfits out of the way. Kill the black man, get him out of the way, chop his foot, castrate him, get him out the home, do what we can. Now when they're in the home, or they have a chance to talk to the black woman, they manipulate her. That's tactic number two. And this manipulation has taken many forms over the years. But we can always see what he's trying to do to manipulate our black woman. And our sisters have fallen into this trap. Okay? And what the main thing that the white man likes to do to manipulate the black woman, the Hispanic woman, the Asian woman, is to show her that she can be independent without the black man. That's what a lot of times it goes down to. You can be an individual without that black man. Don't be with that, don't be a part of that black. You can do bad all by yourself. Who wants to do bad all by themselves? That's the dumbest line people heard. I can do bad all by myself. That's the dumbest line I've ever heard. Some of the things you say is dumb.
Right.
But that is a tactic to make the black woman feel that she does not need the black man in her life. And this tactic has been used over and over again. We're just going to get into the slavery aspect of it because this actually comes from slavery. Okay? Now, how do they do this? They use the same thing that they use on the black man, the media. Have you noticed when you see movies, they always make a movie if you notice in movies, when they're showing relationships, they always somehow show the brother as a dog. Okay, and they're trying to tell the black woman, you don't need this black man. When the XL came out, I remember when the XL came out, all the black men except for what maybe one was a dog. All of them. And then you had the sisters all dancing at the end, woo, partying, free the black man. Okay, you had this one, it's just like they're trying to show that all these black sisters, you can do it without. You can do it without. Got another one called Girls Trip. Just same thing. The black man is a no good man, sisters. Be by yourself. And that's the way to destroy our people. Because the nation is built. Our nation is built off a black man and a black woman.
Right.
And so you got to see the craftiness. You got to see the craftiness the white man does for this. Because it's really pushing the black woman away from the black man, pushing them towards each other to build like a homosexual relationship. See, people don't want to see that because the white man likes to be crafty. That's why you got a lot of homosexuality and within our systems today. Move away from that black man. You can do bad by yourself. But get this black woman over here, though. Wait a minute, unless you do bad by yourself. You shove black sister over here that you're sitting with and which you should be not doing things with. Guess what you got?
It's like, sir, what you were saying is so true. It made me think of the Black Lives Matter movement that you were saying beginning. Marching with the white man, founded by the lesbian women.
Probably not just lesbian women. Lesbian women. That's what it is. So it's really not, what's really happening is they're telling the black woman to get away from the black man and to do something that's really actually an abomination to the Most High and do some horrible acts with each other. And that is something that's not good for our sisters. Okay, and this is what's turned the black woman against the black man. Because in her mind, ain't no black man gonna tell her what to do. Because she can do it all by herself.
Right.
And that's the wrong attitude, sisters. Okay? And it's so funny because the white woman and the white man both use these tactics to manipulate our sisters. To think, yes, this independent mindset is for you. I talk to our sisters about this because it's true. I tell our sisters, because our sisters and our sisters are passionate, I understand. They'll be like, women's rights, and women, and I'm like, all right, sister, I understand. They're like, women's rights. But they talk about what the Most High, the right thing, the rights the Most High wants us to do. They don't talk about, I ask sisters, I'm like, this independent woman movement, I'm like, that you're the only ones that really believe this? I try to tell black women, yes, white women start the independent women's suffrage movement, but white women don't even believe it. I'm going to tell you why. I break this down to our sisters. I try to break this down to our sisters about Asian women, white women, and then us as black people. I don't care how independent that white woman says she is. Okay? The white woman can say, I'm independent of Bill. Bill's not, I'll do what I want. When Bill comes up and says, hey, I need a snack, you know what she's going to do? She's going to fall right in line. Because the white woman knows that she needs her white man. I'll give you an example. Nobody argues that what Trump was a misogynist or said all these crazy things about women. Guess who voted for him the most? White women. White women know to stand by their powerful white man. Whether he's good or not. White women will support their white man. They talking all this nonsense to you, black women. Be independent, be by yourself. But their mother and their family, they better not take that attitude home. Because their father was like, you're marrying Bill. He's not playing. He wants her with that white man. He knows how important it is. She plays those games with you. She talks about Bill and all that with you, but she doesn't believe the black woman. She will still stand by her white man. Suyin, the Asian woman, she'll talk about, Chin or Yin all she wants. But guess what? When he comes home, he says he wants his rights. She will make that rights for him. She gonna do it, black man. She gonna do it. The Asian woman's gonna do it. I told black women, we're the only ones that believe that. Nobody else believes that independent stuff. They don't. They know how important their men are. And their men ain't no good in a lot of ways. The white man's the biggest murderer. The white woman will still stand by him. The white man is the biggest thief. The white woman will still stand by him. He's done all this. She'll still stand by him. Because the white man will kill for that white woman. And he's done that. She knows that. So black woman, we gotta understand that. The Arab woman, she can complain to you, but if her Arab husband tells her to put on that damn mask, she's gonna do it. And get her to put that veil on, she's gonna do it. They know that their men are important. But where do we get this from? This trickery was in the garden. Let's look at the garden. Let's look at the scripture in the garden. Okay? First of all, let's see what the Most High said about the black man and black woman. Let's go to Genesis 2, and let's start in verse 18. Okay, the black man, the black woman was, you will see why the black woman was created. It wasn't to be, apart from the black man, to be bad by herself. Let's see what the scripture says.
Genesis chapter 2, verse 18. And the Most High said, it is not good that the man should be alone. I will make him and help me for him.
Okay, so he made a help me for us. It says it's not good for man to be alone. Okay, let's go to verse 21 to verse 24.
Genesis chapter 2, verse 21. And the Most High caused a deep sleep to fall upon Adam, and he slept. And he took one of his ribs and closed up the flesh instead thereof. And the rib which the Most High had taken from man, made he a woman, and brought her unto the man. And Adam said, this is now bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, because she was taken out of man.
So, keep on. Was that
Lazarus. Therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother, and shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh.
Okay, there was no independent in that scripture. There was no I can be bad all by myself. And it's so funny, you know, the most people that like to say that is Christian women. Wait a minute, these are Christian women that say it. And you know what's so funny? They'd be the same ones be like, I ain't gonna submit to no man. I'll submit to God. But what don't even sound right? Well, Jesus is my husband. You hear that in Christian church. Jesus is my husband.
Right.
Well, guess what? Jesus is a black man. He will tell you the same thing we tell him.
Right.
He's a black man. Okay? So, and sisters, I'm not getting on you. I'm telling you this is a manipulation that's been laid on you for you to believe. But guess what, sisters? You know why? Because it started in the garden. This same spirit that's been put upon our sisters started back in the garden. Let's look at Genesis 3, 1 through 7. You'll see this right back in the garden. Now we see why he was created. She's created to assist her man. To assist him. Let's see what happens though. Because this happens today.
Genesis chapter 3, verse 1. Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field.
Okay, so we know we're talking about the white man. Crafty, here he comes. Let's see how he deals with our sisters.
Which the Most High had made. And he said unto the woman, Yea, have the Most High said, Ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden.
Okay, now he's questioning what he's been taught. And you know she was taught by her husband. So not only is he questioning, he's actually questioning, discrediting what was taught to her by her husband. Do you see the trickery here? And what is that attitude of it? He tries to discredit the black man. Because Eve was taught by Adam. That's what she got, that's what she learned. But look who comes look who comes. That white man, he comes right in and tries to fight. You know what he's doing? It's discredit the black man. Let's get him out of the way first. And then what does Eve say?
And the woman said unto the serpent, We may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden, but of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, the Most High said, Ye shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die.
Okay, so now she's saying what she's learned. Okay? Now let's see what the crafty one says.
And the serpent said unto the woman, Ye shall not surely die.
Liar.
For the Most High doth know that in the day ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be opened, and ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil.
Do you see what the key is doing right now?
Right.
He's trying to set her apart from her man. Because remember the scripture says, submit to your husband as to the Lord.
Right.
So now he's trying to tell her, hey, you could be like, you could have the power. See, because that's what the white man is. He's trying to make the black one independent and be owed the power. And that's not the way the Most High set it up. The power is right there. And this is what the media does. This is what the court system does. And it tries to make the black woman, empower the black woman away from the black man. It's right here in the garden. Let's see what else happens.
And when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, and that it was pleasant to the eyes, and a tree to be desired to make one wise, she took of the fruit thereof, and did eat, and gave also unto her husband.
Stop right there. So now she disobeyed the order, and even called the husband. The husband should have known better. So both of them. But why did this it appeal to her senses? That's what the media does. It appeals to our black women's senses. It appeals to their eyes. They think, oh man, if I'm independent and away from this black man, I'm doing my thing. And the white woman that's telling her all this is still with her white man. Well, I thought you was gonna leave Bill. Well, Bill. Yeah, she's not gonna leave. She ain't. Or if she does, she still knows that white man is very important.
Right.
Now, I know we got a few minutes left, maybe like a couple minutes, but we're going to have to make a part 2 of this. But I wanted to bring something out there's a sister named Pamela Bell who teaches sisters about this complex. Because really, this is her. This actually comes from her, but I like this concept. Black woman, this is what's really going on. Do you know why inside your heart sometimes that you have this turmoil going against the black man? This actually goes all the way back to slavery. This is actually called the Beulah complex. We're going to talk now. Who's Beulah? We're going to talk about who Beulah is for the last couple of minutes. Beulah is the black girl on the plantation that at a young age was taken from her father's house and sent to live in her master's house, the master's house, or lived really close. Now, the master started raping her at a very young age, probably about the age of 11 or 12. Okay, he started raping her. And at the same time, the master was beating down the black man, her black father, or a black man, the powerful black man on that plantation in front of her. He was doing this. What did this do to Beulah? Well, Beulah saw this. After the black man, her father, whoever was beaten, what did the white man do? The next step, he whooped him. Go back to work. And when the black man was too weak or crippled to go back to work, it put in Beulah's mind that the black man was weak. Oh, well, this black man was weak. But what did the white man send in her mind? Rely on me. Okay? Because I'm the one that has you in this house. I'm the one that's feeding you. I'm your provider. And so what does he do to Beulah? He raises Beulah in his house. And he feeds Beulah. He rapes her. But he's getting in Beulah's mind, I provide for you. That black man over there that raised you or that strong, he can't do nothing for you. He's weak. So this is all in Beulah's mind. And then what does the white man do? Remember, the white man's slave master was crafty. He also gave Beulah gifts. And Beulah started to have say in his house. She started to be sassy. She could have a word in his house. She couldn't go too far. You know, the white man will always bring you back down to reality. But she could have a say. And the white man was putting this all in her mind. Be independent. You can't rely on that black man. Rely on me and I'll give you a voice and I'll give you gifts. And I'll raise you up. I'll lift you up. And this is why sisters today, some of our sisters, have a problem submitting to that black man, but can easily submit to that white man.
Right.
They can easily, because the white man has put it in her mind and her mother's mind, that this man can provide you. Even though he is raping you, he is molesting you. He did molest your mother, but he's clothing you. He's putting food on the table for you. And he's giving you a voice. So at the same time, though the white man is teaching you to be independent of the black man, he is secretly teaching you, be dependent on me. And this is a crafty counsel by the white man. And that's what the serpent was doing to Eve. You'll be as gods. But what was he doing? He was putting his ideas in her mind. And because guess what? She did listen to her husband. And guess what she listened to? She listened to that devil. And our sisters nowadays are listening to the crafty counsel of the devil. That's how they're being manipulated. Because they have the Beulah complex. We have to come out of that Beulah complex. And get out of that complex of, I can be bad while by myself. That black man was created for a reason. Just like you were created for a reason. And with that, we're going to turn this over to Police Officer of 50 of the Isupk Baltimore, Nawar. And with that, we're going to do a part 2 on this soon. Shalom.
Part 2,
ISUPK security announcements. We are the ISUPK out of 1 West 125th Street, Hall, New York, under Commanding General Yohana. New rules for brothers and sisters. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to share themselves of the world. After 6 months, if the brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There's another 6 months in which the brother or sister will court each other. After this 6-month period, the brother or sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment. You can find this in Numbers 18 to 21 and Malachi 8 through 10. It means a tenth in Hebrew is pronounced ma'ashra. Tenth of every increase, a tenth of every penny of every increase the Lord gives you, give to the treasury department or the teacher. Priest fund, free will offering for priests, but not mandatory. Whatsoever amount you would like to give. Upcoming holy convocation of this Thursday, Memorial Blowing of the Trumpet, September 17th. Remind Akim and Akwafim to check on social media, such as Isupk.com, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and so on for Isupk events and materials. If a brother or sister wants to be a trooper in the school, then he or she is to start wearing all black, which includes black boots, shirts, pants, headband, or scarf. And with that, we're going to give one curse to sleep to the teacher. Men of Israel, Amajim, Amajim Shabbat, Amajim, Barak, Yahweh Shem Yahweh Barakatah,
Yahweh Shem Yahweh Barakatah.
Yahweh Batah, class dismissed.
Any man give his life for Yahweh Shai Mashiach in Christ and fall up under that UPK banner.